In case you missed it, in case you live under a rock, in case somehow you didn't see it, let's relive that Lane Thomas grand slam in Game 5 that put the Guardians to the ALCS. Steve?
Thomas swings, hits a high fly ball deep into left field. It is up. It is going to be a grand slam. Lane Thomas. What a moment. What a swing. It's 5-1 Cleveland.
Broadcast angle. And Jay, you were sitting very good seats. And Steve, let's put this on. We need sound.
Jay, good focus with the camera.
Not really. For a minute it was.
Weren't you jumping up and down? No?
I was trying not to. I was trying not to because I knew I was recording history. I didn't want to screw it up, but
that's so funny. The guys running behind them at home plate, I didn't know that's how they got that angle. I don't know why, but there's like a camera crew running after him very slowly. Like they're running right behind him to get the shot.
It's a rig that allows you to run at full speed and you don't get any movement.
That's crazy.
What was funny about the whole situation? Well, give us your thoughts first for being at it.
I know we're going to rank it, and I've been all over the place because I thought, like, wow, where does that rank for me? And at first I thought, I don't want to be hyperbolic. I'm going to say top 10.
Right.
And then I thought, well, let me go through them. And obviously for me, it's going to be the Kyrie 3, the block. Those are 1 and 2.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking other sports. I was
only thinking
Guardians.
baseball.
Oh, well, if you're going, listen, if you're going Guardians for me, it's the only other one that I can put in the discussion because I was in the same suite and Bernie Kosar was there.
Yeah.
And it was the Rajai Davis home run where we were in a three, like me, my son, and Bernie Kosar were hugging each other, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
And we did it the entire base path trip.
Yeah.
By the time we stopped and looked out there, Rajai Davis was almost in the dugout.
Yeah.
It was the most euphoric moment of my sports fandom.
I got another one above Lane Thomas.
Really?
Yeah, Rajai has to be number one.
I think Rajai
World
is, even though it
Series.
was, in defeat, it gave us life in Game 7.
Number 2, how quickly we forget.
I know where you're going.
97, Sandy Alomar off Mariano Rivera.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
In the postseason. I was in the bleachers, or not the bleachers, I was in the auxiliary.
You were in the spillover press box.
Yes.
I was with you.
Yes.
Didn't know you, but I was up there with you.
Yeah, in right field. And it was such a thunderbolt out of nowhere. That game was over. That series was over.
Yeah.
And Sandy hit that, and it was like it came out of absolutely nowhere.
But wasn't it?
And they wound up winning the series.
I mean, I thought about that, and I just talked to Sandy about that a couple of weeks ago about the pitch sequence, about everything involved there.
Yeah.
And I have kind of compared that to Rajai. But here's the thing: both were unlikely because you're talking about all-time great pitchers. I mean, Chapman not so much, but at the time there was no one more dominant.
Right.
And to me, Rajai was nowhere near the hitter Sandy Alomar was.
Right.
So,
and that was an unbelievable career year for Sandy. That was a storybook season. 97.
He was the MVP at the All-Star game in Cleveland.
But
it wasn't a great season.
To hit that home run off of the best closer to ever do it in the history of the game,
that's that spot.
That's number 2, and I can't think of anything else, so I would probably put
Well,
Lane
you know what another one was?
Didn't Kenny Lofton steal home or something against the Mariners?
From second base.
From second base.
That was big,
that was
too.
a phenomenal moment. On
Never
a wild
stopped
pitch.
running.
Yeah.
That
Scored
was
2
big.
runs on a wild pitch in Seattle to send them to the World Series. I forgot about that.
That was big. Another one, and again, it's hard to juxtapose these because you want it, ultimately they have to win the series for it to be as meaningful as you want. That's why probably what Sandy did put them into the next round.
Yeah.
But the Frankie grand slam against the Yankees in the playoffs, to me, that moment in the stadium felt as big as Lane and Rajai to me. I mean, it was just like we were done.
Yeah.
It was. They were down, I think, 8-0 in that game at one point.
I think I'd probably have to put Lofton ahead of Lane because it sent them. I forgot about that because it sent them to the World Series.
That was huge.
I would put Lane 4 and Frankie 5 because they lost the series anyway.
I just remember him running, and then when he scored, he jumps. I forget who caught him in the air. Somebody caught him. He jumped into somebody's arms. I'm like, bro, this dude just really stole. He just never stopped running.
Never stopped.
And
he knew from the second the ball got away from the catcher,
he was going.
He knew he was going.
Yeah.
It's an all or nothing play.
By the way, getting back to the home run and what led up to it, first of all, it was such a weird, quick change because Skubal to that point had going into that inning had been dominant. I know they had one other chance early, but it was a drop ball in the outfield that led to it. He was dominant through the first 4 innings.
He was.
And then they load the bases. But I don't know about you guys. I was still very nervous that they were going to score a run there because Skubal had been so dominant for so long.
Well, you know what I had a flash of was just because this is what he's done the whole series. He's going to get a ground ball double play to end the inning.
But first it's Jose, and then Jose gets hit with the pitch, and for a second you're excited because they tie the game, but then you're like, oh my God, did he get hurt? Because on the broadcast they were saying it hit his hand, and with all the small bones in
Didn't it hit him in the wrist?
It hit him in the forearm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But on the broadcast, we couldn't see it initially. It was hard to tell. They said the hand, so I'm like, oh no.
I knew it was serious the way he reacted. He never reacts like that.
Yeah.
So we're all still like in this moment of like, oh my God, is Jose hurt? We tied the game, okay. And before you could even breathe, first pitch, boom, grand slam, and then everybody's going bananas.
That's the thing about
So it just changed. It was like, this is going to be a nail-biter game, and it ended up being still
What was stunning to me was, and this is a testament to the Tigers, and they didn't win.
Right.
But what they gained in experience, there are going to be some folks that pick them to win the Central next year. There will be.
Sure, absolutely.
And I had a conversation with one of their fans after the game where I just commended him. I went up to him and I said, listen, I love your team. I love the way they're built.
Yeah.
I love the way they play the game. I love the way they're managed. And they're going to have a ticket at the party for a lot of years to come. Because you mentioned Job earlier. This is a guy that's got way upside promise.
Yeah, they got good arms in the pen, some nice young hitters.
They went through this and they lost, but they didn't lose everything. They gained valuable experience. And they're going to the Central next year is going to be a juggernaut. It really is. That's why you talk about striking when the iron is still in the fire. Like, this is the moment. It's so difficult to get to this point.
Well,
it's so difficult.
It's the Guardians' first trip to the ALCS since '60.
I know it.
That's how hard it is.
And they've had some great. Look at the 17 team.
That's
how good they were.
That's why baseball is different, because all it takes is one swing. You could be pitching your tail off. You can be mowing guys down. And then all of a sudden, you get in a little trouble. You
the very next inning, they had to go ahead and run it at the plate.
Yep, they did. And Carpenter.
I know.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, what am I looking at right now?
And you know, and when Carpenter got up the next time, I was like, please don't make this guy the new Rizzo.
Well, what was funny to me at one point, before Carpenter, as he was walking up to the plate, I said, well, I can promise everybody in this box that you will not see a slider. It's going to be cutter. And when he fouled off 3 straight pitches with two strikes on him, I then asked myself, do you try it? No. Stay with the heat.
And kudos to him. I mean, he couldn't move, and he got the hit off the wall. I mean, that was, for their first run.
I know.
That was pretty damn impressive.
It was very
impressive. He did that on one leg, basically.
Stayed at first base. He couldn't physically run to second base.
Right. And then, as you said, in that last at bat, where he battled. That was a gutsy performance by him.
I had a conversation with some friends that I've played ball with my whole life, and after they asked Clase to get a 5-out save in Game 4, we were texting during the game, and I said the walk from the dugout to the mound is a fourth of the distance from the bullpen to the mound. It's going to feel 10 times longer. And they were like, why? It's about routine. You guys know that in baseball.
Yeah.
What have we asked him to do all season? Come on to start the ninth, get 3 outs, and then set off the fireworks.
Yeah.
In back-to-back games, we asked him to come out of the dugout in the 9th inning. And people, they don't think that that's a big deal. It is a huge deal for a closer.
Sure.
And also having the benefit of our dugout suite was actually, there's a glass partition between Stephen Vogt and myself, literally separated by a glass partition.
Yeah.
And then a pad, and then if I wanted to, I could reach out and touch him. All I'm doing in the bottom half of the 8th inning is looking at Emmanuel Clase. I wanted to see how is he comporting himself.
Right.
Because in Game 4, the TV cameras kept showing, and I'm like, oh my God, he looks nervous. He just doesn't look, his face looked different. It was different this time around. Maybe it helped him doing it in Game 4.
Yeah.
But he seemed, and maybe it was because of the score too.
Yeah.
But he seemed a lot looser and a lot more relaxed.
Do you trust him getting 6 outs again?
I do.
You have to.
I do.
He'll need to at some
how
point
about
in
the
this series.
stare down a Carpenter after he
My
gets
favorite
it?
moment of the night,
That was awesome.
except for the home run.
Couple of quickies.
He barked right at him.
Couple of quickies we haven't mentioned. You guys give your thoughts, what you will. We've kind of talked around this a little bit, but I did not like taking Matthew Boyd out after 2.
I didn't either.
I didn't like it.
fine
I'm
with
sure
it.
you were fine with
I
it.
was
But
fine with
I didn't
it.
like it.
against the Tiger lineup, I would have let him face the top of the line. I would have let him pitch 2 more innings, especially.
I would have at least given him. He would have been hitter by hitter.
Yeah.
So if you get the first hitter, and by the way,
Right.
that's great incentive for a pitcher. They don't want to come out. They live for these moments. You go to him at the end of the second inning and say, "You're on a hitter by hitter basis now. Until you lose a hitter, you're in the game."
Next one, he brought in Sobrowski, who looked great. I didn't know why he didn't leaving him in another inning instead of bringing Walters. Now, you can say, well, it's a second guess because Walters looked, and I'm surprised they didn't take Walters off the roster because he looked overwhelmed in that situation.
Yeah.
I said it when they took Sobrowski out. He looked great. Why not let him? He didn't even pitch a full inning. I didn't know why.
I'd rather early than late.
I think
if they were going to one of their great relievers, then I would have been fine with it. But they didn't. They went to Andrew Walters, so I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it was. Well, I said after the second inning
Yeah.
when they made the move, I go, okay, now we're in a dilemma.
Yeah.
Now we've got to get 21 outs.
Yeah.
And who's going to give you more than 6?
Well, kudos to Eli Morgan. He deserves a lot of credit.
He was awesome.
Because he never pitched in any kind of situation at least with Sobrowski and Walters, and Sobrowski did great, Walters didn't. But that's early in the game. I know it's the playoffs, it's Game 5, but it's still early in the game.
The later you get, the more pressure there is.
Eli Morgan to come in that spot where Gaddis is clearly running out of gas, and they got to go to Morgan in the 7th inning with the game on the line, and he gets those 2 strikeouts.
Unreal.
And that last strikeout, I don't even know how the ball moved. I mean,
what's
that was
weird. I couldn't tell because I didn't see it. But what's weird to me was that when he came back to start the next inning, he just is just that fast. It was gone.
Right.
Yep.
It was gone.
Right.
And
yeah, you were hoping he could get an out or 2.
Yeah.
Really hoping you go 1, 2, 3.
I do wonder if Sobrowski and Morgan have bought a little bit of credibility with Vogt in this next series.
I would think so.
Because I'm telling you, they're going to get to the bullpen as fast as they can again. You're not going to see, but if you have more guys that you trust to throw at them rather than those 4.
Yeah.
Last
thing, Mike.
I would have left Walters off and put Lively on the roster. I still can't believe that Lively's not on the roster.
I
can't believe it. I think
clearly they don't trust him as a starter.
No, they don't.
Like
But you know what?
Bullpen.
At some point, I believe they're going to wish they had him.
We'll see.
And I was stunned also that we didn't see Gavin Williams.
We'll see him in
this series.
Well, I mean in long relief in Game 5.
In that game.
Why? You've got a guy out there that's stretched out to 80 pitches right now. Why not? But Jason, you're right. There must be some voice in that clubhouse that is like, no, I don't think he's up to the stage.
He was clearly tipping pitches earlier, and I don't know if they've ever got that figured out.
Well, I hope so.
Last thing, after what's been a pleasure to talk about the great team in this town for nearly an hour before we get back to the Guardians, it's going to be fascinating to see how they use the bullpen with Soto a lefty and Judge a righty back to back. You cannot allow.
You can't go hitter by hitter anymore.
Nope. And you cannot allow more than anything. You cannot allow a lefty to face Judge. Period. Boom. And I mean Matthew Boyd will face him once, but outside of that, I can't have Sobrowski, Herron, Cantillo. None of those guys can pitch the Judge.